Agenda is the engineer's report. Mary Ellen?
Hi, good evening. I guess first we'll do the update for Penn and Lincoln to see what was required or what will be required to turn that into a four-way stop situation. I met with one of our traffic engineers and we went through the Pennsylvania Code and also the MUTCD. The Pennsylvania Code adopted or adopts in the MUTCD and the requirements for a four-way stop. And what we have gleaned from those two publications is that they have certain criteria that should be considered in the engineering report. They also refer to sound engineering judgment and, for the safety of the intersection. So that gives the township some, or the borough rather, some flexibility in passing a resolution for the four-way stop. And I think the process would be that if borough would want, PCNS could do a traffic engineering study. It doesn't have to be that big of a study. We just have to address certain criteria, how it's met, and if not, why we still feel that for the safety of the intersection and the pedestrians and vehicular and bicycle traffic, it would be a good idea. So we could put together a brief study and report, submit it to council, and then council can pass a resolution to change the intersection to four-way stop, and if the motion passes, then council can enact it.
Do we have to make an application to PennDOT to get permission to do this or not?
We did. Our traffic engineer spoke with PennDOT today, and they said since they are borough roads, and the borough, as long as they feel it's sound engineering judgment and consider the criteria set before, then the borough has to pass a resolution, though, in order to do it.
Is it a resolution or an ordinance that we need to change it to a four-way stop? Currently, it's a two-way stop.
We're talking about the actually putting the stop signs, or just getting this study done?
No, actually changing the intersection to a four-way intersection.
That would be an ordinance.
That's an ordinance change, okay.
Yes.
But first we need the engineering study.
Correct.
Okay.
And we don't have an existing study that would fill that need?
You've seen the information. Do we have what we need for you to make the recommendations?
We have information that we can pull from to put the study together. We have the traffic counts from Gilmore. From that, we're able to extrapolate from PennDOT curves, some other information that we need. It shouldn't be that big of a study, really. We don't have to go out and do any more traffic counts with Gilmore's information that's, that we have.
Can we get an estimate on how big this is?
Traffic engineer from our office said maybe, 8 hours to put something together.
Okay, so is like $800? Is that what you've?
Yes.
Didn't you glean anything from Gilmore's traffic study?
Yes, that's with
Why
using.
can't you just dust it off and put a new bow around it? I'm not in favor of spending another $800 on a traffic study we've already paid for. Not that we've paid you, but...
We would use the traffic information, the traffic counts that Gilmore has already provided in order to put the report together.
But why do we need to spend 8 hours to do that?
That's a plus or minus. It shouldn't be any more than 8 hours to put together.
Well, as I said last week, I can't write checks on 2 hours here, 3 hours there. We need to manage the process and try and manage our budget, so I don't want to leave it an open-ended project. I'd
So
really
not
like
to
to know how long it's
exceed.
going to take you to get it done.
You could do a not to exceed if that's what you would like to do.
Well, the only issue is if we do a not to exceed and then they feel they need more time, could we, has the traffic engineer looked at this information?
He has. We sat down today and last week for a little bit to go through it and
So after he's
discuss
reviewed it, could we not request a specific amount?
So I guess to help clarify this a little bit, the purpose of your report is to justify the borough creating a four-way stop intersection there?
That is correct.
Okay, and this report needs to be on file somewhere should someone object to this or to come back to the borough and say that shouldn't be a four-way stop, and then we have the report to say, yes, in fact, it should be a four-way stop. But this report doesn't get submitted anywhere in particular. right? It's
That's
just,
exactly
it's for
right.
our files.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, and the 8 hours that you're anticipating is to take the data that's already been collected by Gilmore and to put it into the form that's necessary for this report.
That's correct, in accordance with the Pennsylvania Code and the MUTCD requirements.
So there's certain requirements, this report has to have certain things in it.
That's correct.
And so the information that you got from Gilmore is not in that form? Correct. Okay, so it's something we have to do anyway,
Right.
in order to do this, okay?
Mhm.
All right, so, does anyone want to make a motion to
I have
authorize this activity?
One more question, if I may.
Yes, sure.
Have you had a discussion with Chief about this? Because I know he was involved very much with Gilmore on that location.
I haven't, but I have information from Gilmore, from an email about the accidents that have been at that intersection.
Well, as part of your evaluation, I would appreciate if you'd have a conversation with the chief.
I'll be happy to.
It,
Supportive of this four-way stop at that location, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the engineer to prepare a report that would meet the requirements to create a four-way stop at the corner of Penn and Lincoln using the existing traffic counts and other materials, and to do that in a way not to exceed utilization of 8 hours of time.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion? Does anyone from the audience wish to speak? Does the traffic committee have any comment to make? Okay. Okay, if not, all those in favor, just to let you know what we're voting on. Okay. You did just come in. Yes. Okay, so the motion that is before us is to authorize the engineer to prepare a report which uses the data that has already been collected by Gilmore plus other information, and to prepare a report according to the guidelines necessary from PennDOT.
Or from the Pennsylvania Code and the
Sorry, Pennsylvania
MUTCD.
Code,
That's okay.
which would support establishing the four-way stop at Penn and Lincoln. And we're ready to vote unless you have a question.
I have a real, and it's probably been already covered, but a real quick question. Can we do this?
Yes, I believe we can.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's all. I'm ready.
That's a not to exceed of 8 hours.
8 hours. Bob, did you sign up on
My
He's
question-
working on it. Do we have, is there also a time frame as far as when we can expect? Any idea? I mean, if you don't, I just out of curiosity.
I can ask and get back, but, I mean, there shouldn't be a big holdup for that.
it? Can I order the stop signs?
Not yet, because actually, once she does the report, we
I
have
know.
to pass an ordinance.
You have to
know
pass
all this,
it,
okay.
yeah.
So, would it be possible that we might be able to have this report in time for our meetings in June?
I think it's possible. I'll check with our traffic engineer, but I think he should be able to do that.
Okay, okay. All right, if there is no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.